Hello, how's it going? This video is a tag response. It's a challenge by Blu-ray Movies. I'm in a WhatsApp group with him, the Movie Loons and the rest of the guys. He's done a challenge, basically. You pick your favourite film from every genre. So what I've done, and it's took me quite a while actually, is I picked 15 genres, which is quite the challenge for me because I predominantly really like watching horror. And yeah, so I'm going to talk about 15 of my favourite films from 15 different genres. It'll all be on physical media. I'll show the physical media. It's been quite difficult with some of the genres, as I do kind of have favourites in them said genres, but they're not really my favourite kind of like movies and themes and all of that sort of thing. So yeah, quite the challenge this was. Thanks, Roy, for letting me be a part of it. Each movie I show, each genre will be filmed in its own clip, so there will be little cuts, but I'll make them seamless so they don't distract or interrupt the video. So thanks for letting me take part, Roy. This is the 15 favourite films from 15 different genres. Okay, let's start with the first genre, which is sci-fi. So there's so many good like horror sci-fi crossovers. This was a difficult one to do, but I've decided to select Aliens. I'd say this is my favourite sci-fi movie. Plenty of elements of horror in there with the xenomorphs, of course, and there's plenty of like creature feature goodness, of course, with the Queen at the end. But I like everything about this film. Directed by James Cameron. I thought this 4K was brilliant. I know there was a few, some people had issues with it because of how shiny and glossy and new it looked. Going off the transfer, but regardless of that, I love the story. I love how it kind of takes the simple concept of the also brilliant prior film Alien and kind of just like enhances that and makes it a bigger, badder and wider universe with more aliens, more xenomorphs, more action set pieces. Yeah, it's got everything, this one, for an sci-fi movie, and Aliens coming in for sci-fi. And now we are on to horror. So this was a easy one for me. I just had to pick one of my favourite horror films. And if you watch my channel, of course, you know that mine is the original 1974 TCM, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's, you know, it's gritty, it's raw, it's low budget at the time. You know, the first one, especially this one, was very low budget, independent filmmaking at its best. Like I say, it's raw, it captures a certain kind of realistic feel. It's got some realism to it because of how raw it looks. Yes, things are a little bit wacky and over the top, but I just love this film, love the whole aesthetic and the way it looks, and it's perfect for me. It doesn't outstay its welcome. It's fairly short at like 80 minutes or so, and yeah, just one of the most perfect horror films for me, straight to the point. Certain realness about it. Love the whole aesthetic of the film, the location out in the Texas Badlands countryside. You know, it's crazy, and yeah, TCM for me from the horror genre. So comedy, I'm not the biggest comedy fan really. I love to laugh in real life and have a joke with friends and family, but yeah, comedy, not the biggest fan of watching comedy films. So I did find this one a little bit of a struggle. So I had a think and I thought about a lot of comedy I like. There's a lot of sort of 90s comedies I used to love, especially like some of the Jim Carrey films, things like that. But I decided to go with this one. I've watched it a couple of times over the past sort of 5 years, and I went with Drop Dead Fred. I think this is a wacky little adventure. It's about an imaginary friend, and it's such a fun time. Rick Mayall's fantastic as Drop Dead Fred. There's a sort of sketch of him on the back of the Blu-ray. But yeah, coming in for comedy, Drop Dead Fred. Action I found pretty easy because I've picked one of my favourite films in general. It's one of my favourite non-horror films, and I've gone with 1984's The Terminator. It's another James Cameron in the list, but yeah, it's got to be The Terminator. Great action set pieces, brilliantly done score to the film. Absolutely love the score. Awesome performance from Schwarzenegger as the Terminator himself. You've got Linda Hamilton in there, and yeah, it's just got so many good action set pieces, plenty of kick-ass action, badass scenes, great story. Love the whole concept of the Skynet taking over in the future, and the Terminator's been sent back in time to take out the Resistance's son. Yeah, awesome film. Martial arts. So I'm not the biggest martial arts fan. I do like a lot of Bruce Lee movies, things like that. This took me a moment to think of because I don't have many martial art films in my collection. But what I did realise is this one is my favourite. It's also a double set featuring its sequel, but I'm going to go with the original Lady Snowblood. Lots of bloody action, gory as hell. It's a tale of revenge. Yeah, just awesome martial arts movie. Lots of good fighting, set pieces. Yeah, definitely Lady Snowblood for me. So as a kid, used to love a load of the Disney films, things like that, some of the earlier Pixar films. And yeah, I do have a soft spot for animation. I like adult cartoons as well, like adult animated series, you know, South Park, Simpsons, things like that. And I decided though, for my favourite animated movie, it was a bit of a tough choice. I did decide I was going to go with at least one of the Disney classic films, you know, the Walt Disney classic films, and I went with I think it's from 1996, and I went with this one, The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Now my animation favourite is could be interchangeable, but today I've gone with The Hunchback. I just love the way it's drawn, the whole art style tells kind of like a very you know, like rewarding tale of an outcast having to become the hero and fight for what's right. And I think The Hunchback of Notre Dame is my favourite animated movie, especially from the Disney one. So I went with that for today. Romance, no, I don't watch romantic movies. I'll admit there's a couple of good ones, especially in the with that are horror adjacent, with, sort of infused with horror. So therefore, sorry about this, but for romance, I couldn't think of any romantic like lovey-dovey films that I really like. So I went with I cheated and I went with My Bloody Valentine. It's got Valentine in the title. It's set at Valentine's, therefore it's a romance film. No, it's not really. It's just a straight up horror slasher, but romance, My Bloody Valentine. Thriller now, and of course with me, I had to pick a giallo because giallos, as well as having elements of horror in them, are also thrillers. They're kind of like horror fused with thriller, and you get a giallo. And I've gone with this for the my own favourite thriller, and it's Dario Argento's debut feature, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. Excellent film, great reveal, some you know, mean-spirited kills and stuff like that. Mystery to it, intrigue, Bird with the Crystal Plumage for my own thriller. Musical, another sort of genre that I'm not too into. Absolutely adore music, love listening to music in all different areas of my life, different genres, different music from different decades. But when it comes to musicals, I'm not really the biggest fan, but there is a handful that I do really enjoy. And for my favourite musical, it wasn't even a hard pick. I've gone with Jim Henson's Labyrinth. I think this film's great. Got introduced to it as a child, watching with my sister by my mother, and I just love it. It's got Jennifer Connelly in it, who's great in the film. David Bowie is just, or Bowie, however you want to pronounce that. David Bowie is just phenomenal in this. It really encapsulates kind of his kind of like flair and who he is. He really hams it up as the Goblin King. It's got great songs, really fun songs you can sing along to. My favourite musical is Labyrinth, definitely. Documentary, I do love a good documentary, and I like a movie related documentary too. So for the documentary genre, I picked the Never Sleep Again, the Nightmare on Elm Street, big, cohesive, comprehensive, very long, sort of like 4 hour documentary. I forget how long it is. I do have the singular Blu-ray, the German release. However, my collection is a huge mess to some degree. Some of it's organised, especially the boutique labels, but I couldn't find Never Sleep Again, so I'm having to hold up this Nightmare on Elm Street DVD just to show that it's Freddy Krueger. Yeah, Never Sleep Again, the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary is my favourite documentary. I think it covers the franchise really well. It goes in depth, lots of deep diving, lots of information, cast and crew notes. It's got interviews with the different directors from each film, because it goes step by step. It goes through each Nightmare film in the franchise, so it's so comprehensive, so interesting. Never Sleep Again for my own favourite documentary. So on to musical now. When I was blabbering on about Labyrinth, I think I forgot and thought, because that's a musical as well as this film, but actually that was the fantasy pick. So my favourite fantasy film is Labyrinth, which is a musical. That's why I started blabbering on about musicals. But when it comes down to musicals, I've decided to pick The Wizard of Oz. I love this film. It's really fun. It used to be on at Christmas all the time on the TV. It's a fun story. You know, it's about overcoming the odds, coming together. It's it's kind of designed and played like it's a theatre show. You know, it looks like it's a play. You've got all these cool sets and backdrop of the film's location, and you've got all these different characters, and as you can see, they kind of look like they're people in pantomime. You know, that's how it was that's the look of the film. And yeah, it's got some great songs as well. I know I picked Labyrinth, which I probably should have picked Labyrinth for the musical, but I picked Labyrinth for fantasy. And I would say Labyrinth has better songs than The Wizard of Oz, but I do really enjoy it, so I'll pick this for the musical, because I'm not a big musical fan anyway, so Wizard of Oz. Yeah, mystery, fun genre as well. Being a horror fan, you can incorporate lots of mystery into horror movies and thrillers. I've gone with this one that I watched about this time last year, and it really impressed me. It was a first time watch, never watched it before, and I've gone with The Picnic at Hanging Rock. It's an Australian film. It's about a bunch of girls who go missing on this school day trip. It's strange, well acted, great kind of mystery drama. Yeah, definitely go with this one for the mystery department. For crime, I've picked my favourite non-horror movie, which is Scarface. I've not cracked open the 4K yet, but I've loved this film since I was a young teenager. Tony Montana absolutely brings the pain, you know, which is actually a line from another Al Pacino film, Carlito's Way, but Tony brings the pain as well. There is so many good gangster movies that I could pick to put in the crime genre, but Scarface has got to be it. I love how kind of like over the top it is, hammed up. It's not, say, as serious a tone as, say, The Godfather, whilst remaining serious. It also has some like kind of crazy hammed up elements to the acting, especially Al Pacino's performance as Tony Montana. He's just really like, you know, off the wall and just absolutely amped up to 150. So he's that amped up as Tony Montana. Great action, great set pieces, great gangster vibes, set with the beautiful neon kind of like colourful Miami backdrop as it's set in Miami, Florida. But yeah, Scarface crime for me, without a doubt. Right, two more to go, and the second to last is the war category. I'm not a big war movie fan. I find historical aspects of war interesting, like reading up on it in a historical sense for research. I've not seen many war films. I do have a few in the collection, but I would say quite easily my favourite is Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick's brilliant war film. You know, it's so good. So many cool scenes, like involving the drill sergeant played by Ali Ermey. That's a fun section of the film. It's kind of about, again, another one about kind of coming together and working together even when you disagree with people. And yeah, it's got a good sort of ending as well. You know, the final act in the films, you know, has actually got a bit of like, you know, war action in there and fighting. I'd say this more focuses on the kind of like recruitment to the army military, and focuses on the story of the characters, you know, as they go through changes and kind of become molded into the soldiers, you know, that they will become. So it's not got the most kind of battles in this one, you know, it's not got as many like war scenes perhaps as like I can't think, like Saving Private Ryan or something. But for me, as far as war's concerned, Full Metal Jacket easily. And it's not even because of the war action and the fighting mainly, you know, the battles. I'm more interested in kind of the story. I like the elements like when they're training and being molded into soldiers. Yeah, really good film. And finally, another genre that I do enjoy, and but I haven't watched too many movies. I've got quite a lot in my collection. I just need to get around to them. So last genre is westerns, and I have picked Quentin Tarantino's Django Unchained. It's not the most traditional western, but it is a western nonetheless. You know, set a couple of 100 years ago. You know, it's got cowboys in there and outlaws and that type of thing. Yeah, really good film though. Tells the story of Django coming back, you know, he's been mistreated as a slave. He's coming back. He's kicking some butt, kicking some arse, and like, it's really good. Great action. Leonardo DiCaprio is fantastic as the villain, the plantation owner. Some great nods to like history in here, like historical references, and yeah, I just think it's a all out just good time, Django Unchained, and it's really violent as well in true Quentin Tarantino fashion. So there you have it. There's my 15 favourite movies by genre. That was quite difficult to do. I've spent the morning kind of picking them out and making lists and going over things and thinking, which one shall I put in this anyway? And anyway, once again, big thanks to Roy, Blu-ray Movies from the Movie Loons for letting me take part. Do subscribe to Roy's channel if you haven't. If you watch me and you're not subscribed to Roy, go check his channel out. Blu-ray Movies. That's my favourite 15 favourites anyway by genre. So really enjoyed doing this challenge. Thanks again, Roy, and anyone who's watched, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.